Hi YouTube, Rail here. As you can see on the screen, I've got the code for the Rcube engine pulled up here. If you're familiar with Handmade Hero, you'll definitely notice a Handmade Hero influence. Big fan of Casey Muratori and his coding style. It's where a lot of this code got started from, to give you some history of this project. Obviously, we've diverged a little bit since we're voxel based and not a 2D game, not really trying to do a lot of the same things as Casey was trying to do in Handmade Hero in terms of the world and how we interact with the world. Casey was doing much more of an arcadey style of game where you go into the same world every time, and all of the Rcube games are going to be about changing the world and placing your own stuff into the world and building places for digital things to live in the world and yourself to live in the world. So very different goals, but definitely going to be keeping a lot of his code structure. So enough about Handmade Hero. What I wanted to do was give our first devlog of the Rcube engine and talk a little bit about how we want to get to our big goals of bigger games like Redead Rewind. And I think that the right way to get to those bigger goals and bigger games is with small goals, is by testing out everything that we have. So our first thing that we're going to do is going to be just a small little, mostly just a farming simulator with some exploration aspects mixed in. You're going to have to go out and explore and find seeds and new things you can grow. And then as you turn in produce, you get some kind of points or money. This game is very, very up in the air right now still. Really just going to let us test things out. It's going to be a multiplayer game, so it's going to test out our net code. It's going to test out proximity voice chat, going to test out our physics, make sure that even just simple things like saving and loading games are battle hardened, been tested out in the real world. So yeah, that's what our goal is. Get a small game out, test all of our code, make sure it really does what we think it does in the real world on lots of different hardware setups. And then after we've got a small game or two out on itch, we'll move on to trying to put bigger games like Redead Rewind and the games in those first three videos that we put out on the channel ready and out to people to play and have fun with. So let's give a little bit of, I guess, a tech demo of what we've got so far. Okay, so this is a pretty small little voxel world that we built. You can sort of fly around in here. I think we have a key to turn on gravity here. Maybe not in this version. I must be remembering wrong. You can fly down. Our collision detection is still a little bit funky, so you get pushed away from these blocks. And then we have to add shadows, so it's hard to see, but in this version of the game, you can take away dirt blocks. You can't take away these stone blocks. So if you wanted to, you could dig around and dig a hole in here, but it would be very hard to tell where you're going with this version of the game. So let's close this. I think I just had to make a change to fix that controls here, so let's commit that. Yep, we had to change that. Added keyboard action buttons. There we go. And what's our other branch? World gen testing. You won't autocomplete for me. Oh. Goodness. I cannot type today. There we go. And then we'll give that a rebuild here so that Visual Studio knows what in the world we're talking about. Let's see. There we go. I must have put in some breaking changes when I was thinking about different ways to do hash maps. Okay, so this is a version of the world where we've been working on drawing a little bit. It's still hard to see where things are. We still need to work on our lighting, so we've got shadows. But we started to draw just the relevant parts of the world. You can see we've just got this thin layer of voxels here. You can't see it, but there's world data for voxels up there up above and down there down below. This is just a little test so that we can test and make sure that for someone, if you were standing in the middle of these two planes or just on the bottom of that dirt surface there, we're not drawing any voxels that you can't see. Our next optimization, as you can see, we're drawing the top of this stone layer here, which we don't need to do. So we're going to get rid of that. We're only going to be drawing one of the 6 faces of a lot of these cubes. That'll cut down our drawing time a lot. And then we're going to start adding shadows and shading so you can see where you're going a little bit better. And then we're going to start expanding the world, making it bigger. So yeah, that's about where we are. We'll be back next week with more updates. Hopefully we'll have some cool stuff to show you. See you then. Thanks everybody.